This holiday season, prepare to have the stuffing scared out of you. Thanksgiving. In the town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, the fourth Thursday in November is the most celebrated day of the year. The table is set. The festivities have begun. One uninvited guest has arrived, and this year, there will be no leftovers.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are Just Another Movie Night, and I'm Scott.
And I'm Joe.
Yes, you are.
I'm
And
Joe.
here we are today doing before and after reviews, where we go see a brand new movie in the theater and give our thoughts before and after. And today we're talking about a movie 17 years in the making.
Wow, has it been that long?
I think so, right?
Yeah.
I think Grindhouse came out in 2007.
Oh my gosh.
16 years then, right? 2007. That was the movie directed by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. But if anybody had ever seen that in the theater, and I think there might be a release now on DVD.
There is like a special edition that has all the extra stuff.
Yeah, that has everything together. And the best part of it was these fake trailers that were in the middle of this movie. Or that movie, I mean. And those fake trailers were all directed by their friends. And now, 16 years later, we only have had 2 of those fake trailers made into real movies.
Yep.
That would have been
Machete.
from Rodriguez. He made 2 of those. And honestly, if you asked me that yesterday, I would have said, wait a minute, there were 2?
Yeah.
But there
were two.
were.
Yeah. Don't you remember Michelle Rodriguez gets out of the freaking Winnebago or whatever and she's got the eye patch?
Is that
Remember?
the second one?
Yeah.
I remember about the second one is there's a trailer for a third one where they are fighting in space. And I believe it's DiCaprio.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I remember that was insane. I think he was in the trailer. I don't even remember. But we never got a third one. But here we are talking about Thanksgiving, not to be confused with Thanksgiving, which I think everybody wants to call this.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I almost have a hard time saying Thanksgiving because I want to say Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that would be the film with the killer turkey that says "gobble gobble, motherfucker." Yeah, there's 2 of those as well. I never saw the second one.
No, we
which is
didn't see
called
the
third
second one. No, yeah, we didn't see that. We just watched the first one, which was just enough fun for us.
Yeah, the Thanksgiving, I remember, famously took the idea from, I think there was like this running joke that there was going to be a Spaceball sequel, and it was going to be called Spaceballs 3, The Search for, I think he says in the end, Spaceballs 3, The Search for 2, right?
Yeah.
Which was always great, and they never made it. And instead, Thanksgiving comes along and does it,
Yep.
which was really funny. But yeah, everybody thinks this movie is called Thanksgiving, I believe. So yeah, we're finally getting it. That trailer, which was a highlight of the Grindhouse experience.
I wonder how many people would walk into this movie and not realize that it's a horror movie. Like maybe
They all know.
Some family thinks like some wholesome, do-gooder kind of movie, some wholesome family movie.
I seriously doubt it.
I mean, it's not
Can't
getting
imagine
like.
it happening.
I mean, where's all the press though? Like I've seen a couple trailers, but like it's always the same trailer, and most of the time it's like super short, and I don't see like any like press for this movie at all.
There actually was another trailer recently, and it was actually really good. It was one of those rare times that the trailers have been getting better and better, although I feel like they're showing a little too much in the second ones.
I don't recall seeing the second one. Did I? Second trailer?
Yeah, I think we did.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think, I don't know about you, but do you feel like they should have just used that trailer from the Grindhouse movie?
I was wondering why they didn't.
And because I think in that they show two things in particular that are extremely disgusting. I think there is a human-sized woman made into a turkey. I think it's like the grandmother.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
he is having sex with it in front of the family. The killer.
Well, this is directed by Eli Roth, so I
Yeah.
don't see him holding back, but it also doesn't have like an X rating or anything. So let's see how much he does put in this movie.
Yeah, well, in the trailer, there does seem to be the knife in the vagina kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be squirming around in my seat.
I wonder if they'll...
It'll be quick. They're not gonna show anything, obviously. But,
Yeah, I was wondering, will they, like, I don't want to say puss out.
oh, god damn you. I'm gonna leave.
Oh, you're mad that you didn't take that joke.
You're right, I am.
Another thing to point out is they're not using the actors in that trailer.
Yeah. Who was playing the lead in the trailer for
I'm pretty sure that Michael Biehn was the cop.
Oh, why can't they use Michael?
I know. He was perfect in that trailer. I believe, and if I'm mistaken, doesn't he taste the blood and go, "It's blood"? Wasn't that like the great moment? I just remember laughing our asses off.
It's
in the
been a
trailer.
long time, but I could tell you Michael Biehn would do that movie. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't he do that movie?
I also remember that Eli Roth put himself in the trailer, getting a blowjob and then getting his head cut off. Which I remember just really,
I hope
really
this
laughing
movie
at.
is like that. I really
I
want
know.
it to be like that.
I'm so mad that the Grindhouse experience didn't make like a lot of money, so they could have kept doing these films with all their friends.
Well, I think that's Tarantino's fault.
No, I think that no one saw that movie because I don't think they understood what it was.
That could also be true.
I remember we famously went to see it with a huge group of friends. We were the only ones in there. There was only like two other couples, right? And I remember one of the couples left after the first movie.
Yeah, I think
They didn't know there was another one.
Yeah. Well,
And I kept going, this is the best part.
here's the
Like,
thing. Planet Terror was the first one, right? So
Yes.
that once you experience Planet Terror and then you go to Death Proof right after that, like you're just taken out. You're taken right out of that.
It is odd.
Situation.
It is.
Like Tarantino's over dialogue-y bullshit and turning Kurt Russell into a freaking sissy Mary.
I'm
like,
actually.
You don't take a badass like Kurt Russell and fuck him up like that.
I'm wondering. I think that Death Proof is starting to grow on me a little bit. I feel like it's more relevant now than ever for some strange reason.
I don't know.
It did some crazy shit. There, unfortunately, is a very huge amount of dialogue, which Grindhouse movies rarely do.
I'm just surprised he hasn't learned his lesson yet. It's like you really can't come off something as energetic and crazy and fun as Planet Terror and then go to something as just so draggy and dull like
I don't
Death
know.
Proof.
There's some really cool stuff going on. The kills with the car in that movie are amazing. That one crash scene is incredible.
I mean, yeah.
But I agree.
It's just not.
Planet Terror to me really got the Grindhouse horror zombie action type thing. It really kind of got that weird thing.
It really
Maybe
did.
it's a little too stylized, a little too over the top. A lot of those movies would have been a little slower and duller.
I mean, come on, with the machine gun leg and shit.
Yeah.
That's like right out of stuff we've seen before, like from the 70s. And
I
like,
would no. I mean, that's more of a 90s take on those kind of movies.
it kind of had
especially
that
from
feel.
Japan.
It had that feel of like one of those like ridiculous, over the top 70s movies that we've seen before. Like we have a whole box set of all these 70s movies above our TV.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I was saying. I don't think any of those are that stylized and that out of control.
I mean, it's a little more
You look
modern,
at
but-
another zombie movie from the 80s. I mean, the 70s, like Dawn of the Dead. It's very. There's a lot of talking, a lot of slow moments, and
True.
that movie just went balls to the wall. Where I feel like Death Tarantino with the Grindhouse idea I wish he would have backed it off. Meanwhile, getting back to this movie, and the only reason I say that is because the other people who did those fake trailers all kind of got it. Edgar Wright's Don't is perfect.
Yeah.
That trailer, but that was a joke trailer. It was all about a joke. But shockingly, Rob Zombie's is perfect. It really got that Grindhouse idea.
Which one was his?
His one was like the werewolf, she wolf
of the what was it, USS?
yeah, it's
or
like
something?
werewolves, she werewolf of the SS or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that.
Where Nicolas Cage was Fu Manchu.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that kind of really got it. But this movie, I think we're all going to say that the Thanksgiving trailer in there was the best, one of the biggest highlights.
Yeah, it really was.
So finally, we are. Now, I will say that I'm a little seeing the trailers. I'm excited that this movie even exists, and this is what Eli Roth should be doing. He's getting off to other things, and what I'm guessing is that they're failing heavily because this Borderlands video game movie that he has apparently made is not coming out. No trailers, heavy reshoots apparently without him.
Oh dang.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a disaster, which sucks. That cast is crazy. That's a real shame because I really like his kids film, which I really don't think is a kids film. I think it's just a really good film. Is the House of the Clocks on the Walls?
Oh yeah, I like that one too.
It's actually a pretty damn good little movie.
Yeah.
It's actually doesn't treat kids like they're stupid. It's scary. It's crazy. And it's fun. I actually like that film.
Yeah.
But I want him to get back to this horror thing that
Yeah.
he's so good at, that
Like
he understands.
did with the Cabin Fever and what do you call it? Hostel and things like that. I want that. I want
I
this
want-
movie to be those movies, like just gross.
Go back to that slasher stuff. Make
Yeah.
a wild movie again.
Yeah,
I
like
think it'll be
skeeved
fun.
out. I like the skeeved out thing, like he did with the chick with the razor in Cabin Fever and all that. And she's like shaving her legs and all gross. I like that. Like I like that skeeve factor where like I start squirming around in my seat because I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want that too. I don't think it's going to be as heavy as it is in those older movies. I think he's kind of grown a little bit, and this movie might be a straightforward slasher with
No,
some
that's
crazy
fine.
stuff.
That's
I
fine.
kind of wish that he would have done the Grindhouse filmmaking in it. I wish it would be a little more. It's a little too clean, I guess is what I'm saying in the trailers.
I don't know. I kind of feel like I think he would do really well if he teamed up with Rodriguez. I think so.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with wishing there was more Grindhouse
Yeah,
movies. I
like-
wish it was popular enough to make another one of those because
Yeah.
having another Grindhouse feature of two directors making something crazy would have been a real blast. And I wish I kind of would have done it, but I also know that horror movies make a lot of money,
They do.
and it's some of these guys need hits.
I think so.
And I kind of want it. I don't think this movie is going to be the hit for him, but I do think it's probably made on a low budget, which is great because that's one of my favorite things about horror movies. They're not overdoing their budget. Every movie doesn't need to be a huge spectacle. Sometimes you can make a slow, smaller piece and for cheap and then make a profit. So if this movie makes, I'm guessing, I haven't looked into the numbers. I'm guessing this is like a $15 million movie.
Probably.
Yeah, and hopefully with that you make a $50 million profit or more.
I hope so. I mean, I don't know. It's getting high praise, which I know you don't put much stock in this, but
I
it's
never
getting
do.
high praise from Darcy the Mail Girl on Joe Bob.
Yeah, that's definitely
But
no.
She also doesn't. I mean, we don't really agree with a lot of her movie choices.
I don't think any.
But she's a horror gal, so I'm thinking maybe we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have any expectations. I really just want to see in like a slasher. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, that's all I want too. I'm not even asking for much.
Nope.
That's the thing. I just want to laugh. I want to be entertained. I want to come out and just be like, one of those cheer moments. I know a lot of people are like shitting on Evil Dead Rise these days. I don't know why.
Why?
We enjoyed it because
Love that movie.
it was like an old school horror movie. It was set. It was really doing demons more than it was doing Evil Dead. It was kind of doing demons and Evil Dead mixed,
Yeah.
which I really appreciated. And it went overboard. It went over the top. It did crazy gore, and we were kind of in our seats, like, "Whoa, wow, holy
Yeah,
shit!"
some of the stuff
you know?
they did in that movie was like crazy.
Yeah.
It was shocking.
It wasn't perfect, but we
No.
had a blast watching it.
Yeah, and
so,
I it's one of those movies that I really love. I love that movie. I could watch it over and over.
so that there you go, right? Like, I kind of just want something like that. That's all I'm asking for. It's simple.
That's all he's asking for. Why does it always come back to that? The sky is blue and all the leaves are green.
Spredoinkle.
I just lost my mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah, that's all we're asking for, and I think that hopefully, I always do that thing where I'm the hopeful one, and you're the one that's like, yeah, whatever.
No, you know what? I'm actually hopeful.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
You know, here's the thing though. I love holiday horror movies because it's like I don't.
That's a funny way of saying it.
I
There's
just
not
do.
that many. But
I know, but when I see them, I'm like, yippee!
Yep.
Because I don't ever want Halloween to ever end in my world. I just live in that Halloween world, and so when I get to watch, like, it's a holiday movie, and it's a horror movie. I'm like, yeah, man, because I hate Thanksgiving. I hate it.
Well, I don't hate it.
Thanksgiving is awful.
I like being with you with a nice beer and some turkey.
But we do that every day.
I'll do it every day for the rest of my life and be happy. I'm giving
I
thanks
mean,
for
it
you.
doesn't have to be Thanksgiving, and just Thanksgiving itself, like everything behind Thanksgiving, it sucks.
Oh, you mean the actual where it came from?
Yeah.
Or it's some
Like,
bullshit.
yeah, being with
but
family, eating
we've-
pie,
we've
yippee
turned it-
yippee, but
we've turned it into something different.
It's something different
It's supposed
now.
to be, giving things for whatever. But let me ask you, since we're a movie thing,
Yep.
what Thanksgiving movie is your favorite? And are there many,
God damn it. Well, I guess it's gonna be Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
just Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh my
It's
god, the
a
end of that movie.
fucking
I
classic.
can't cry. I cannot not cry every time at the end of that movie.
It's such a classic that people want it to be a Christmas movie when it's not. It does
Yes,
feel like one.
It does
It's
feel like
not.
yes,
It's
it
a
does.
Thanksgiving film.
Yeah.
I also like Home for the Holidays with Robert Downey Jr. I know a lot of people don't seem to talk about that one very much.
Yeah, I
but
like
it's
that
really
one
good.
too. Yeah, yeah. I want Thanksgiving to be my favorite new Thanksgiving movie. Let's see if it's gonna be.
Okay,
I'll
let's go check it
figure
out.
Thanksgiving is a time for appreciation. It's a time to remember our many blessings, to celebrate with the ones that we love the most, and it's time for all families to be together. Let's eat.
And we're back. Thanksgiving. There will be
Thanksgiving.
no leftovers, Joe.
There will be no leftovers.
All right, so what are we thinking? What's your first opinions out of the gate? We haven't talked yet at all. Fresh opinions.
Okay, so you're going to be annoyed with me? I really liked it.
I did too.
I mean, I really liked it. Like, I had a really good time with it.
I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to.
I did too. And I was like, okay, when I'm watching this movie, I'm like, as I'm going through and we're getting deeper in, and I'm like, should I really be enjoying this as much as I am? And I'm going to say the answer is 100% because the gore in this movie was freaking top notch. I loved it.
Yeah, I just wish it went a little harder.
I mean, Eli Roth, I tell you what though, he really does know gore. I mean, if anyone else, directs a movie, like a horror director, he's one that definitely knows gore.
I nailed it though. He did play it safe.
He played it safer than I thought he would.
Yeah, I
but it
think
was
so.
still gory. It was still, the kills were pretty
Yeah.
inventive.
Yeah, he played it a little too safe, I think, in certain spots, but he didn't in other spots.
Yeah.
There was one in particular near the endish that was just so out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere and it made us laugh really,
Yeah.
really hard. And he just kept doing the blood.
Yeah, it was
And
great.
I thought that was hysterical. But here's the thing: we were the only ones laughing.
We were. I think that people in the movie theater were taking it a little too seriously.
A little too seriously for me. I can't stand that kind of shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, for me, I was dying during this film. I was laughing a lot, which is really funny because it takes itself very seriously.
You know, it really does. Like, I thought that he was going to go for some comedic things that were like, just slapsticky. But we had a little bit of that, but not to any extent, Like, it was a pretty serious movie.
Yeah, I mean, which is funny because it's not, and it is. It's very all over the place tonally, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for that. The opening of this movie is excellent, and I will say that it feels very comical.
Yes.
It's
Stereotypical, cliche high school kid.
I wouldn't even say that. I would feel like not even cliche, realistic.
I mean, there were a smidge over the top with their, how like that in teen movies, there's always some kind of like clique or like camaraderie or something that they all understand each other. I just have a problem with that in today's movies because I feel like it's just a little bit taken to an extreme. Like
This one made sense.
I don't know. I mean, it worked fine for me. It did, but I thought it was a little bit extra.
He very cleverly had the boyfriends all be sports people. Mm-hmm. So they're football players, and naturally their girlfriends are all friends. So that's how they all know each other. Instead of one guy's the football player, one guy's the artist, which always pisses me off because none of those people would hang
Yeah.
out. They would say that it was because of their girlfriends, but then the girlfriends all have nothing in common.
Right.
And in this movie, they all kind of make sense.
I mean, they do make sense, but they were pretty cliche with the way that jocks behave, and they're all like,
Oh, they're going for the extreme douchebag stuff, but
Yeah.
I actually liked. One of the characters actually turned out pretty interesting. I mean, they didn't go far enough with Scoob.
Scuba.
Yeah,
His name was Scuba, and I liked him.
yeah. He actually turned out kind of interesting. I wish I would have gave more into him, but there were some scenes of reacting to a murder that felt real. Their
Oh,
like
yeah.
shock.
I feel like because I don't know. I don't mean not that I know Eli Roth personally, but I feel like he's the type of guy that wouldn't really tell them the extreme of the gore that he's planning on doing, so that when it does
Oh,
happen,
you think that's an actual reaction?
yes, I think it's like a real reaction. I
That's
think that
interesting.
he's the type of guy that would do something like that. It's like not telling Drew Barrymore what didn't Drew Barrymore not know about E.T. being all white and gross when she first saw him? She like freaked out and that was a real reaction.
Yeah, they pretty much made her bond with the puppet.
Or was
in
it
that
like
movie.
was it like when her first reaction was when she saw him all dressed in the wig and the hat for the first time? Her scream was real. That's what I read. So like I love stuff like that where like, they don't prepare the actors for that kind of thing. Like in Alien,
Yeah.
when the chest burster scene, they didn't prepare that actress for what was going to happen to her.
Yeah, that's what they say, which is really odd because there's so much planning in that shot.
Yeah.
That always kind of shocked me that she didn't know what was about to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy. They freaked her out. But I feel like Eli Roth is that kind of guy that he would just do that, like not tell them the extent of what's going to happen and just totally bombard them with blood and guts. I
Well,
can see that.
The only reason I don't know if that might have happened here is because the characters acted like I get sick of these movies like Scream where people see death and they're just like, moving on.
Yeah.
And in this movie, there's like a whole, like, couple, like a good scene cutaway from the aftermath, and they're just completely numb. Like the two people are just completely almost comatose.
Yep.
And we have like no sound, and it's slowly coming back to the world, to the movie, which is really neat. And I'm like, damn, they're making these characters feel more real than they should.
Yeah, it's
Because
true.
it could have so easily just been the wacky, the laugh, black comedy type thing. But you kind of are interested in the characters. He kept playing with tropes and then kind of reversing them, which was interesting, setting up the asshole father and then reversing it a little bit of a moment of understanding each other. So easily could have just kept going, he's an asshole, because that's how it is. The asshole stepmother, the asshole this, and like, you have a bunch of cliches and you can check them off and so easily get on with it.
Right.
This movie just kept reversing it all the time, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, because like one character you think is a totally whole, but then they turn out to be kind of decent, I think that was cool. The opening of this movie too was like, it was amazing.
Yeah, the opening sets the tone really, really well in a sense that you're supposed to be laughing. They want you to know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you kind of go, these people might be real. Am I laughing because this is so true to the world?
Yeah.
Or am I laughing because the situation's so insane?
I was laughing for many reasons. Number one, these people were just hilarious. They were hilarious with their commentary and their just, just the way they behaved. But yeah, it opens with like Black Friday shoppers
Yeah.
pretty much.
And
It was
it's
hilarious.
yeah, and it's Massachusetts, right?
Yes.
So Massachusetts, and of course everybody sounds like Matt Damon in
Oh,
Good Will Hunting.
Yeah.
And one guy even looked like him at one point. There's like a gym teacher. I was like, holy crap, there's like a young Matt Damon doing Good Will Hunting's like conversation, like speech. But I really loved it because all I kept saying was, damn, they really missed an opportunity to put Jimmy Fallon and Sherry O'Terry, not Sherry O'Terry,
And Rachel Dratch.
Rachel Dratch
Yeah.
from their characters from SNL in this scene because they felt like those characters.
That would have totally added to the scene even more.
It
I
would have
think.
added to it just as a
Because-
joke.
Just as a joke, like, I mean, the whole opening was just it was just comical and jokey to the point where, like, yes, these people do exist on Earth, but the way it was so over the top just had us rolling.
Yeah,
It was funny.
it was. I don't know. I was generally laughing, and it was also on the edge of my seat to see what would happen next. Well, I will say that we're talking about a lot of positives, but I'm going to say negative real fast. I thought it was very apparent who the killer might have been
Yes.
very early on. I pretty much was sure throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And I will say that one thing doesn't make sense in particular, which seems off, but I don't know if it was done on purpose. Who knows? That could be, but I definitely think it's a negative in the sense that the mystery, I think, is too apparent.
I think so too. I mean, we kind of called it. We were in the theater.
Oh, I knew it very early. Although you
Yeah.
kept debating everything.
Well, because the build kept changing on the person.
yeah,
so I
but
was
that's
like, wait,
that's
now
a
this-
typical horror movie thing.
Yeah, it was like who was like too short in one scene and too skinny in another scene, and it just kept changing. So I was like, wait, could it be this guy? Could it be that guy? Could it be that guy? So yeah, but it made sense at the end. I mean, it was pretty evident. But it was just the gore was so much fun. It was just great, and there wasn't one character in this film that I thought, oh my god, I hate this motherfucker. I just really liked everybody, even though the douchebags are douchebags, and it just
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and also I would say that what you're saying, they're not really that fleshed out.
right,
The characters are kind of surface level fleshed out.
yeah,
You kind of get them, you know their motivations, you know what's going on in their world. But I wouldn't say that they're so deep that we know them enough to care when things happen to them.
Right.
Especially since there's some random murder characters in this movie. This movie's go like, oh, now we're going to introduce 4 other characters that might get killed off in the scene. And it's funny because in the opening, I would say that there's a bunch of characters that I thought were going to die.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh, these characters are going to come back and get killed.
yeah. Some of these things were shocking. Some of these things were pretty shocking.
There's a bunch of characters that didn't go anywhere,
Yeah, that's also true.
that were set up,
Yeah, and
which is very odd.
some characters that you thought were just gonna, just they were like kind of on the side, but kind of still part of the film.
Yeah.
That you didn't think they were gonna be slashed up, but they totally were, and it was shocking. Like there was a lot of people that were like, "What? Oh, okay."
You thought so there was characters that you thought weren't going to be slashed up and
Yeah,
they were?
and they were.
There's a
Yeah.
bunch of characters in this movie that they set up that don't actually go anywhere. That completely disappear from the film at one point. There's a bunch of them and actually one character has a lot of setup and doesn't have any end.
Yeah,
Which-
I think I know which one you're talking about. I
It's
think
very-
I think Eli Roth needed to just add in some extra suspects there.
Well, he could be, and I guess this is another plus, is that he's making the world more lived in. You're getting a lot of side characters. You're getting a lot of
Yeah.
other established things going on. Whereas in a movie like Scream, I'm going to always bring up Scream because that's the slasher movie people talk about the most. Mm-hmm. In Scream, the characters who exist in that world, the ones that only have dialogue, are the ones who are either going to be killed or survive.
Yes.
They're going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
There's no the world doesn't feel lived in. It feels like it's a group on a set.
Yeah, it really does.
Where in this movie, even though it does have that feeling, it still was establishing a bunch of characters around the movie that didn't play into it, didn't come back, and had dialogue. So I kind of appreciate that because it makes the world feel a little more real.
Yeah.
I will say
I
though
agree with that.
tone shift it definitely might be a problem for a lot of people because you're either going to want like the dark comedy or you're going to want a serious slasher. And I think this movie delivers well on both, but I will say that it definitely feels like it's not it's almost a 50-50. So if that's something that you don't like where you just kind of want one tone, you're definitely not going to get that here because in the middle here, it feels like it's taking itself seriously again. And then the kills will be so outlandish that you're like laughing. But then the characters feel real again. And then the killer will say something insane.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, we're back into the comedy bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all over the place in that way, but I super enjoyed this. I
really did too. Yeah, I really did have a good time. I had, just the gore and, the fact that I liked all the kids, like I never like all the kids. Usually there's one that just gets on my last nerve.
Yeah.
But, I liked all the kids. I didn't have a problem with any of the characters and they were pretty great. So I had a great time. I'm definitely recommending this.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an automatic one. Going in, I was thinking to myself, there's no way this would be this much fun. I don't know. You know what I really like too is, and I know it's all Roth, but the fact that he really feels like, I don't know like this is an old timey slasher film.
Yeah.
Like this could have been a slasher film. It reminded me of My Bloody Valentine
Yeah.
in that way where it feels outlandish, but it's taking itself seriously. So it's kind of like you have your 50-50. You got a guy walking around with a pitchfork, a axe, right?
A pickaxe.
A pickaxe, and a miner outfit. And you're like, how does this guy even see?
I know.
And then you're just kind of taking it seriously in that sense. And then you're just kind of laughing about it. I think that the My Bloody Valentine 3D is exactly how this movie feels. That movie grew on me. At first I didn't like it. Now I'm kind of enjoying it, how insane it is.
Yeah.
But this one feels like a genuine fun slasher movie.
This movie was so much fun, like from start to finish. I mean, really, even though it had a lot of predictable moments, the whole entire plot was pretty predictable. It didn't matter. It just didn't matter because it was just so much fun to watch, and the gore was outstanding. And
Sometimes it was a little CG, but yeah.
I mean, for the most part, though, he really went for it. I mean, some of the scenes he had to use because there's just no way when you think about it. But I thought it was great. It was so fun to watch, and I miss going to the movies and seeing gory films like this.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, like having a film like this get a wider release
Yeah.
seems so funny
I'm
to
so
me.
happy. I really hope this movie makes money and does well because I really had a good time with this one.
Yeah,
I really did.
I want guys like this to make more movies like this.
I
Just
know.
fun, stupid fun, and like just enjoyable films.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he knows gore. He knows how to, make the horror community happy with the gore.
yeah. I mean, I'm wondering. I can't wait to hear more people talk about it. I'm sure this will be one of those like debatable ones. There's
Oh,
always a lot of
yeah.
like controversy and stuff. I know that some people might want that. What we're always trying to struggle for the word to say for this, but like more of a deep psychological horror film. I know I'm usually into that, but sometimes you do want these kind of movies that are just silly fun.
Oh, well, I like both the psychological
Yeah,
horror and the slashers. I mean, I love slashers, especially like 80s slashers where like the gore is so crazy. And this is like reminded me, it was like reminiscent of an 80s slasher with some of the gore. It was great. I
Well,
had a good time.
let's talk about the comparison to the last Scream.
Okay.
What is it about? Because we both admit we didn't like the Scream movie, and we're really lukewarm on the Scream franchise in general. And what is
Yeah.
it about that to this? Do you think that you enjoy this more than that?
No, I just also you have to understand that we're what, 6 sequels deep in the Scream franchise? It should have ended like at 3. Or if they're gonna do 2, do 2, but end it. We don't need 6 sequels of a freaking franchise. It started to get repetitive. And when you have a movie like this, yes, it was, predictable, probably more predictable than, say, watching Scream 1 back in the day, because you wouldn't know that Stu and Billy were working together on this. It was a
Spoiler.
shock. Oh, please. Everyone's seen Scream. But, like, you didn't know at the time. It was like, whoa, and that's why I like the first Scream, because it was like, oh, wow, that's different. But this movie, you can't make 6 sequels of this. You just can't. If this killer, somehow keeps getting, coming back and coming back and coming back, it's going to get too repetitive, just like Scream, and no one's going to want to see it. So I feel better knowing that this is like a one and done. They should keep it a one and done.
Yeah, I think my problem with the comparison, the difference between the two for me, is more about this idea that Scream thinks itself a little too meta commentary, where they feel like they have to be, oh, we're something so much more. And then,
It's like they're smarter than the audience.
It's smarter than the audience. They feel like, oh, look at what we're doing, wink, wink, all the time. And then the problem is they forget to make a good movie around that.
Yeah.
And so you'll have characters just like, oh, we're in New York City, and there's nobody around. It's just us, our core
yeah,
group.
in New
No
York
one's
City.
bothered.
Okay.
It's like 6 people sit on a thing. Oh, I'm this person in a horror movie. I'm that person. It's like
Yeah.
that commentary after a while gets so stale. But I think the biggest problem is the slasher aspect. It always makes me go, there's no way. Like, that didn't happen. This person couldn't have done that. And when the reveal happens, it's so corny.
It is.
So over the top. So forced.
It's like
that you're not even having
Sydney-
fun
It's like
anymore.
Sidney Prescott's 14th cousin removed on her dad's side.
Yeah, whoever
Who-
slept with her mother.
Slept with her mother and
So
had an
stupid.
inbred baby. And then he slashed up all her friends simply because she was born.
Cindy Prescott's landlord.
Yeah. We're done with Sidney Prescott. I can't take no more of it. I mean, we're just, it's too deep
Yeah,
now.
it turns out Sidney Prescott's landlord actually slept with her mother in 1965. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What is
And
this?
she has 4 siblings that she's never met.
Yeah, and all 4 of those siblings are going to be the killer.
You know what? We
because
just
we're gonna
wrote
step it up.
We wrote the next Scream movie.
I think so.
All you have to do is close your eyes and be
Yeah.
just
And meanwhile,
dim-witted and just be like, yeah, it's great, Uncle,
Yeah.
Clive. He did it.
and meanwhile, in this movie, it's so simple, it's so easy, and I think it's so digestible
Yeah.
that you're allowed to just sit back and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, people, I usually don't like when people say, you turn your brain off and you just sit there and you enjoy it. I usually don't like that. I'm like, well, you should never want your brain never to be on. But I definitely agree that this is definitely one of those movies you can actually just sit back and relax and
Yeah,
let.
but that's not true either because we were literally thinking about things the whole time.
That's what I'm saying.
You
But
know?
you can sit back and just relax.
Yeah.
I know some people like to turn off their brain, and we're seeing that with the Marvels movie, and a lot of people liking it more than we did because they're like, oh, it's just a popcorn film.
Ugh,
And I'm like,
all right.
okay, that's how that works for you. Fine. But for me, sometimes, of course, I'm going to think about the whole movie, and the whole time I was invested.
Yeah.
Not only am I invested, I was trying to think of, oh, this is what's going to happen, and then some of the scares, like the jumps, I know they were coming. Sometimes still got me a little bit. Like, oh, that's cool. This is a
Yeah.
little startle. This is a little fun thing.
Yeah, I mean, the kills were great. I mean, they just were. It was a fun movie. I really had a good time with it. And I could watch this over and over and over again more than I could ever watch Scream, any of the Scream movies.
Yeah, I think especially for the last two Scream movies.
I mean, anything after one, I'm freaking done with it. Because I like one.
I'm
I
talking about part 4 forever.
I can't.
I'm
What
gonna
is it? The cousin this time? It was the cousin.
Denise.
No, it was her cousin. And then the other one was Roman. He ended up being her brother. I can't take it. I can't take it.
But yeah, so I definitely think that, you know, that a concept of sitting back and just enjoying a film is much nicer than one of those movies where you feel like I have to not think. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I appreciated this. What are you going to give this score wise?
7.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I want to give it a 7 as well.
I loved it. I had a good time with it. And there wasn't one moment in this movie where I was like, ugh, is this going to be over soon? No,
We didn't. I don't even think we in the before we guessed what our scores would be.
we didn't. No.
And I never in a million years would have thought I was going to come out with a 7.
Never in a million years.
Yeah, I can't believe that I enjoyed this one as much as I did.
I really loved it.
I just had a lot of stupid fun with this movie.
Yeah.
I just really enjoyed myself laughing at this thing. And
It was a good experience.
It's exactly one of those movies that you want, you know, like I don't know, recent horror movies that we've seen slasher wise might get a little too serious, might get a little too stuffy. So yeah, it's really nice to see that. It's a kind of a breath of fresh air that came out of absolutely nowhere.
It really is.
So yeah, all right.
I'm
So we
pretty
both
happy.
suggested, yeah.
I definitely recommend this movie. This is a horror movie that I think, you know, everyone could like, you know. Even if you're not like a diehard Eli Roth fan or a diehard, you know, gore fan, slasher fan or whatever, I feel like if you go to the movies, you're going to be like, oh my God. Doesn't matter what kind of fan you are.
Yeah, honestly. All right. So yeah, we both give a thumbs up. I would say if you don't like it or you do like it, I would love to hear about it. Hit us up on social media at Just Another Movie Night on Instagram and The Crafty Misfit on Instagram. We're always there to talk about movies because we enjoy it so much.
Yeah, I love talking about movies and I can do it for days. So
Yeah.
if you reach out to me on Instagram, I'll chat you up for
I love it. I would love to have more of a community chat because I keep getting caught up in these nice community group chats. And I love that kind of stuff. I would love to hear more conversations. Next week, I think, is Napoleon. So that'll be our next review we're going to be doing. And I think that's it. All right. Have a good one.
Growing up, I dreamed of writing a slasher movie that would be like Scream or Halloween. One of these guessing who the killer is, something that's incredibly scary, that's also fun with fantastic kills. And
Oh my God.
this is it.
Cover that body!
Anytime we do a death, we try to truly make it a classic kill. We take it very seriously. It's like a badge of honor for us. This is the kind of movie you go see opening nights that no one spoils it. You just go and you scream. This has to be the movie that if I never make another film, it doesn't matter. I made this one. That's enough.